Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology post, which you can find on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. The idea behind the second post here is to bring further intuitive insight to the day's energies. I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, then I'll make a quick review of the day's astrology before playing another tarot card, which may give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Two of Cups, and it's there because it relates astrologically directly to the first decan, or the first 10 days of the sun's transit through Cancer. Cancer is the cardinal water sign. Cups are water in the tarot, and the water element brings us to talk about our emotions, our intuitive response to things, and our creative capacities. So with the Two of Cups, we have a pair of people who have joined together in some sort of almost a formal way. It does look kind of formal. In a formal way, I'm going to say it, but also with mutual regard for one another. So this could represent, a romantic pairing. It could represent, an engagement or a wedding in the offing, but more than that, it just really indicates a partnership, a meeting of minds, where the people enjoy one another's company, enjoy working together, and have the same goals and have one another's best experience at heart. And so they find that they can act as one person, or they can work together. Again, that can be romantic, that can be friendship, that can be a familial bond you have with somebody. It can also be like a working or a business relationship. But again, it's based on respect for, a sense of respect that both people have for one another. And you have the caduceus in the middle, and that really it sort of almost looks like it's zapping energy of the lion there, the fire right down into the heart of the picture. Signifying the unification of two becoming one. And the lion's head there, very fiery energy for a cup card. But the lion with wings, it really makes me think of Mercury for some reason, and reminds me that communication is what generates and what maintains the positive connection, the positive emotional bond of these two people. And as long as they remain, dedicated to that bond in good faith, they have a future together. There's something that they can create out of that, whether it's a little house on a hill with a family by a river, or whatever, those two people's idea of paradise together is. And with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some cards while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Cancer. And the sun in Cancer begins with the summer solstice, which we just had about a week ago. And that was the longest day of the year. That is the peak of the sun's influence. And now we are still sort of in the zone of the peak of the sun's influence, as you can tell probably if you are in North America and you go outside. Yeah, it's pretty warm out there. It's very warm out there. So, there's a lot of focus on the outer life at this time, just because there's so much going on out under the sun. People are boating, people are biking, they're just enjoying, the rivers and lakes and swimming pools and stuff like that. And I think that's really beautiful, especially the getting down to water part of it. And I think Cancer would agree with me. Initiate contact with some water at this time, right? Make sure you are well hydrated, and make sure if you go outside and stay outside, you have access to water, okay? So, Cancer is really the ruler of the moon, and the moon is more about the inner life. So it's almost like our external focus is on what's going on inside our hearts and homes. But also, there's an element here where you know, the outer life meets the inner life. So things from the outer life, things from, say, the political sphere, or things from the community sphere can sort of intrude on our inner lives and make things uncomfortable. But that's okay, because the sun is in Cancer, and the sun is a formidable opponent to anyone who would seek to damage their home space or anybody in it, okay? So we've got that on our side. Another thing we've got on our side today is I want to talk to you a little bit about Lilith. Lilith is an asteroid out in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. And Lilith is a symbol for the defiant female spirit. She, you know, legendarily, you know, refused to lay on bottom for sex and ran away with some angels or some sort of hogwash like that. But, you know, suffice it to say, she represents women who live life on their own terms and who will not be subjugated. She's sort of a loving figure, but a very fiercely loving figure. So she works well together, I think, probably with Cancer, because Cancer is sort of like the crab with the shield and the pincher, right? So, you know, you arm Lilith in that way, and probably, you know, nobody's going to be able to mess with your home life, or with your, you know, your feelings or the way you feel about certain people or things. So I like that. I like it that at the peak of the sun's influence, you know, we have this this protectiveness come over us, where we seek to take care of one another. And then, you know, the moon today is a waning crescent, and it is in Gemini. So, yeah, we're just tying up, getting rid of the things, the thoughts, attitudes, and dispositions, the stuff that we no longer need, that we know no longer pulls us toward our goals. And in Gemini, we're probably talking a lot about it. We're having conversations about how it's gone and what we've let go of. And now we're coming to a point where we're going to pause. And when we hit that new moon tomorrow, we're going to take a moment and we're going to appreciate what it is to be in our lives right now in a really rational way. And then we're going to begin to consider what the next several weeks look like for us. And that will happen in Cancer tomorrow. On the moon side of the page, we have some kind of awesome news. We have this this real easy ability to connect with other people very early in the morning. So, you know, if you're up at 2:22 a.m. But moon trine Saturn and moon sextile Mars happen right on top of each other here at about 8:25 this evening. And they're really setting us up for success for this Mars sextile Saturn that's going to put us to work in a way where we have a lot of patience and drive, and we're able to cooperate with one another. So, you know, moon trine Saturn, we feel good about the things that we have committed ourselves to, and we are on task. Mars and Saturn coming together, that puts us to work. That sextile vibe and that trine vibe, we've got cooperation and we've got blessings, you know, from the inner life, coming up from our feelings. This is how we feel, so we feel like we can be successful and we feel driven to take care of business. And I love that. Moon comes into a square with Neptune not long after, like an hour later. Don't get messy in your confidence. You know, this feels, Mars and Saturn together, that feels very confident, very bold, like I know what my resources are, I know what I can do, and I'm going to get out there and do it right now. You know, don't get messy. Don't, you know, assume that you know what's going on, but then fail to pay attention to what's really going on. On the sun side of the page, Mercury goes conjunct to Chiron for a few days. This is a good time to speak up, mend fences with people. If you feel like there's air to clear, there's a good time to clear the air here. Mars sextile Saturn, patience, drive, and cooperation. That's a blessing that's coming in our way. It's a cooperative vibration. And these two get together and we just do work, we do labor, but the labor goes well, again, because we've got this cooperative attitude and we've got the patience to get through it. Venus trine Pluto, last day, maintain your focus on what you desire. Saturn and Pluto still both retrograde and still working on Saturnian ideals like, you know, our foundations and our traditions and our institutions, the things that we lean on for support, are all up under review. And, you know, one of the questions we want to ask is, you know, if it supports me, does it support everybody? Okay, and with all of that said, ooh, we got the star. Well, I think y'all know this star is my favorite one. It's probably a lot of people's favorite one. Put in context, the star, you know, comes after the tower, and the tower is like the big bad of the tarot deck because, you know, it's a tower that's being struck by lightning and set on fire and falling down, and people are falling out of it. So it really represents a calamity or a disaster, right? And the star is like the morning after the tower falls. The star is the new hope of a rising sun, right? So, you know, this just says that, you know, even in the wake of loss, even in the wake of calamity, even when we don't know what will become of us from here, if we have, you know, our bodies, our hearts, our minds, our spirits intact, and if we seek to keep them intact, if we keep one foot in the water, in the emotions and the intuitions, and one foot practical on the ground, then we can be the hope. We can create something beautiful and new. And another really positive one to get with the Two of Cups there, you know, the Two of Cups is sort of about an intention to create something beautiful and new, whether that is, you know, a family or a business or, you know, a nonprofit effort in the world, or, you know, whatever it is that you're seeking to create with this person, you're doing it out of respect and regard for them. And, you know, you might have humble ideas about what you might create with this person, but remaining engaged in it in good faith. And like I said, one foot in the emotions, one foot on the ground, in the practical world, then probably the benefit will be much greater than you ever thought it would be. A star with the sun in Cancer, the new hope, with Lilith in Cancer as well. You know, it does, you know, there is an aspect of the star that says, you know, when that tower falls, like, we may have cowered in fear, but at some point we are going to stand up, all right? You know, when the new day dawns, we have to stand up and begin again, which is what we do. We just keep starting over. Maintain a focus on what it is that you desire, especially if you're starting over at anything in life at this point. Yeah. And understand that it's going to take work. It's going to take work. There's going to be a lot of labor involved, but also we're going to be blessed with some, at least to get started, with some patience and some drive and ability to cooperate. Mars is wonderful because Mars is not just competitive. Mars is competitive and cooperative, you know, so a little bit of both sort of gets us moving faster. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about it today. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I appreciate your presence. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.